2015 was a good year for us. Basically, what happened to me in the beginning, I studied finance, BCom finance, and then I also did a BCom investments. Janine did a basic industrial psychology and a few small courses. We came to a season in our lives where we had this ongoing conversations of because I traveled quite a bit abroad, and I experienced the Eastern culture a lot and Jewish culture a lot. I experienced what the Western culture comparing to the Eastern culture, and one thing that stood very, very clear to me, and it troubled my heart, is how the Western culture did not focus very much on generational create supplying generational wealth to the next generation, and also focusing more on short term instead of generational focus. So basically, what we did at 2015, I left a high corporate position to do service at the NPO right across Johannesburg. We basically, I just provided for orphans and orphanages, food gardens, and I try to give my skill and my gifting to these young ones and the institute to get private sector to the public sector, and trying to help these entities with a very big struggle. But I did that for 2 years. Then at 2017, I started with a property developer doing his accounting and his admin. Janine was a retail manager at the time, 2015, and then the last 2 years, she basically supported a young entrepreneur importing leather products and trading these products online in South Africa. And the gig message basically to us, financial education is the thing that stands out very strong. How we don't need more money, but how we need to mature our financial education. Another thing, generational financial stewardship and budget is the first topic that our meeting with Jasper in 2015. We went to, Janine and I went to Jasper's place to find him there, and he spent 2 hours with us just digging into the 100-year plus budgeting. So that stirred me a little bit in our family, because, as I said, being in this one generation mindset and studied quite a bit in finances, I was troubled because I realized that I was optimizing the now and the 30 to 60 year, but not really considering 100-year plus for the next generation. Another thing which immediately struck my heart and decided to gain this gig instrument of the 0% for some debt. At that time, we didn't have much debt, but it was important for us to get our cards settled and our study loans on a zero. And basically, the impact gig had on my life with Janine, being newly married then, we basically, our first loan cleaned our study debt. Then a second loan we took in beginning last year, and we covered basically some of our cards. We paid off a car, and there were some short-term loans that we also could cover. We finishing paying off this loan in the next 12 months. So yes, considering high interest loans, swapping that for a 0% interest loan, which created some financial or wealth seeds, which we just kept on planting back into the gig savings. Another thing which really impacted myself, both Janine and I are passionate bakers, but we do mostly for the last 4 years natural fermented baking and other products. But the baking especially, we use 2 products. We use water and flour. Now, thinking of water being a truth in life, and the flour is like the gig message. And if you put these truths together, the truth with this product, and just give it a bit of time to ferment, and the bacteria to increase this fermentation, what stood out greatly with a bit of mentorship from the gig leaders. We started generating our first additional income stream, and then we had a second income stream, and currently we're standing at a third income stream, which is obviously financially easier and less risk for where we at 4 years ago we had one income stream. But where we're currently standing with very little debt, multiple income streams, and Janine also took on Newer Life. It's basically we use some of their cleaning products. In my early childhood, I remember my mom always used this, but for some given reason, maybe to other products marketing more aggressively. But as I grew up, I used Near Life. But when I had my own little family, we had these cleaning products, which was quite a high risk for consumption. And then I said to Janine, but look at these products, because I'm quite, I enjoy gardening and food gardens. And with our little baby being born last year, it was a no-brainer to basically to look at these products that can be consumed and can also be thrown into the garden after a bath or after dishes being washed. And so it was a no-brainer. We basically took on the Neolife Life products, which to our surprise was at least 40-50% cheaper than the current organic products we were using. And yeah, the last piece of advice I would like to give, if I may, I encourage each to reflect their measure of balance between riches, wealth, and money. Riches to me, basically, just it's a vain short-term focus, where wealth is a little bit more family wealth, family resources of value with generational inheritance, and money being a basic lifeline, a bloodline to serve today's needs and tomorrow's needs. But yeah, so I encourage each to reflect where they are in balance with those three riches, wealth, and money. And then if you ask yourself some good questions and also take these questions and bring them to your wealth coach, and you'll be surprised with a bit of vulnerability towards this. You'll get some good advice, and there will be a shift, and that shift surfaces some really valuable lessons and some I believe a more fruitful generational future for the generations to follow. The last thing, which is on Janine's heart, and if we can just ask as well, as we have been led by the Geek mentors, may this culture continue when we mature with this financial literacy. May we teach and share these gems to the people in struggle, to the people with dysfunction financial situations. And yeah, I would love to share my number or email if those would like to call afterwards or whenever it suits you to have a few more questions if you want to later. But yes, that's our family. Thanks for hearing our side, and we're looking forward for this time ahead of us. Thank you, Jasper.